Hi everyone, this is Yash, and in today's video I'll be sharing 6 things that you can do to instantly boost your credit score in Canada as a beginner. I will also be sharing one bonus hack that I personally use myself every single month that you can do to immediately boost your credit score within next 30 days. So make sure to stick till the end and let's get right into it. So the first thing right off the bat that you can do is, if you have a parent or a spouse already in Canada, you can become an authorized user on one of their credit cards if they have a high credit score. And what this will do is, if they have a high credit score, it will increase your credit score, sometimes maybe by 50 or even 100 points. This does not usually happen, but it's something that I've seen work for a lot of people, so you might want to try and test it out for yourself. Also, if you need to convince them to add you to their credit card, what you can do is you can tell them that it does not really affect their credit score. It is just going to help you build your own credit score and see a little bit of increase. This is number one tip that I recommend everyone. Of course, it's not going to be applicable to every single person because when you arrive here as a newcomer, you don't really know a lot of people, but it's still one of the tips that a lot of people don't pay attention to, and this can easily increase your credit score by 50 or 100 points. Number two, I would recommend not applying for a bunch of different credit cards if you have an upcoming loan or a mortgage that you're willing to go for in the next immediate 5-6 months, because if you get a lot of hard checks on your credit history, it decreases your score, and end of the day when you go to apply for a loan, they might offer you a relatively high interest rate and you don't really want to do that. But let's say if you're not planning on buying a car or getting a mortgage over the course of next 1 year or so, you're totally fine applying for different credit cards. That's what I personally did. Initially, when I moved to Canada, I had no immediate plans of getting a car or anything like that. So what I did was I applied for a bunch of different cards, and that increased my total credit value that I had, because your total credit value is like a combination of the individual credit limits that are on your cards, so you can definitely do that. The third thing that you need to make sure is to have a low overall credit utilization ratio. So what do I mean by that? Let's say you have a credit card that has a $10,000 credit limit. You need to make sure that any given month your credit card bill that generates is not more than $300, because if you have a lot of credit card balance every single month, it raises a red flag to the creditors that you are not sufficiently careful with your money and that you are overspending. So it's always a good idea to ensure that you keep your spending every month less than 30%. And if you consistently make sure that you have a low credit utilization ratio, what it will do over time is it will increase your credit score every single month. And soon, within a year or two, you will see that your credit score will be much higher. The fourth thing to keep in mind is to never miss a credit card payment. I cannot stress it enough. You need to make sure that you're not spending more than you can afford to, and you're paying your credit card balance every single month in full. For some reason, if you're not able to do it, do not really try and miss the entire payment, and try to at least pay the minimum balance on your card. Now, this is something again that I will not recommend to everyone. I will recommend to always make sure that you're paying your credit card balance in full every single month. But if sometimes you end up not being able to pay it, make sure to at least pay the minimum payment on the card. Because what happens is, if you don't even pay the minimum payment on your card, you actually appear as a defaulter in your credit history, and that would be staying on your file for a very long time, maybe a year or two. So you really need to make sure that you're at least paying minimum payments on your card. Number 5, and this is something that a lot of people don't do, is to not review their credit report every single month. So in Canada, you have websites like Borrowwell and creditkarma.com. Both of these websites extract your credit history from equifax.com and transunion.com, and they will send you an email every month showing your credit history. And both of these credit bureaus have their own different ways to calculate the credit score, so it's good to create an account with both of them. And then every month, once you receive your credit report for that month, go through a list of all the transactions and make sure if you see anything that's off, call these companies and ask them to fix any mistakes that you see in your credit report, and a lot of times they will be willing to go through it. Number 6, try to call your credit card companies every year and request them to increase your credit limit. Now what this will do is, because your overall credit limit is high, your credit utilization ratio will decrease and your credit score will improve as a result of that. Now it's important to make sure that you call the banks and ask them to increase the credit limit, and do not request it online on the website or the banking app, because if you request online for a credit increase, what it does is it counts as a hard check on your credit report, and that will again decrease your points by 5 or 10 points. So you don't want to be doing that. You want to be calling the bank and requesting them to increase the credit limit so they can review your transactions, and if you have solid usage of the card throughout for a 6 months or a year, they can increase your credit limit and this will not count as a hard check. Now if you've made it so far, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel, because I will be sharing informational videos like these every single week. Moving on to the bonus hack that I wanted to share with you. So this is something that I personally do every single month. And so what I want you to do is 4 or 5 days before the credit card bill generation date, I want you to pay all the expenses that you have incurred on that particular credit card, so that when the bill generates, it's not more than 9 or 10% of your total credit utilization ratio. Now what do I mean by that? So for example, if you have a $10,000 credit limit on a credit card and you spend $500 that month, before the bill generation date, just try and pay back $400 on that card. And so when the statement generates for that month, your account will only have the statement generate for $100. And now you can pay that $100 in full. But what it will do is decrease your total credit utilization ratio even less than what you have actually spent that month, because you're already paying $400 before the bill even generates, right? And so this is a really solid tip to make sure that your credit score increases every single month. And just trust me, try and create an account with Borrowwell and Credit Karma and try and pay your almost entire balance, leaving $50 or $100, and then just see the next month when the credit history report will generate, you will notice that your credit score has increased. So this is something that I do personally every single month, and this makes sure that my credit score is always like over 800. It's important to note that a lot of time people say that you should not spend more than 30% on your credit card, and which is a solid advice. But personally, I will recommend you that when your bill generates for the month, you should have not spent anywhere over 5 or 9%. So just keep your credit utilization ratio less than 10% or a single digit. So anywhere between 5 or 9% is what I aim at. And so if you do this, you will notice that your credit score will start increasing every single month. So that's all for today. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe to my channel. It would mean a lot to me, and I will see you in the next one.